Hello everyone, I'm Cosmic Dreamer. Today we are going to discuss a topic that is both metaphysical and scientific. An analysis of the methods to open the third eye. Note, this method is only derived from analysis, and its feasibility must be carefully considered. First, let's understand an important organ in our brain, the hippocampus. The hippocampus is an organ within the triune brain model. The outermost layer is the reptilian complex, which contains the paleomammalian complex and the neomammalian complex. It is an organ that is parallel to the pineal body, also known as the third eye, in the neomammalian complex. It is named hippocampus because it looks like a small seahorse. Hippocampus has also been studied by neuroscientists. Even though our rational brain is very important, it reads various information such as reason, language, processing abilities, etc. Indeed, the reptilian complex only accounts for 20% of the brain's active neurons, while the neomammalian complex and paleomammalian complex make up the remaining 80%. The reptilian complex has a processing speed of only 40 calculations per second, while the neomammalian complex can reach a computational speed of up to 11 million calculations per second. What exactly is it doing with these 11 million times? Later, it was found that it might be organizing files for us in our dreams. We still don't know what the pineal body does. It's always a silent organ. We have no idea what it's doing. But with the hippocampus, scientists have found out that it helps us organize files. It helps us with memory. It's an organ related to our memory. This has been experimentally proven. There was once a man suffering from severe epilepsy, and the only treatment option neurosurgeons had was to perform a removal operation. That's why after the corpus callosum, the connection between the two hemispheres of the brain, is cut, the left and right brains become two separate entities. The left hand writes, the right hand doesn't know. The right hand does something, the left hand doesn't know. It is like splitting the person in two, where the left side of the body only handles the left side, and the right side only handles the right side organs. Another case is where the hippocampus is removed. The man was 27 years old, and then he stayed at the age of 27 forever. He has no memories after the age of 27. He can have a normal conversation with you, talk to you, but immediately forgets. He always thinks that when he wakes up in the morning, he is 27 again, as he only seems to remember being 27 every day, a very terrifying loop. This is the researched function of the hippocampus. It helps us with memory. Why did the sleeping prophet Edgar Cayce dream? Why could he read dreams and speak those astonishing prophecies once he fell asleep? He even stated that he accessed Akashic records, and then told about those grand things like Atlantis, astrology, the South Pole, the North Pole, etc., within the Akashic records. Why is that? Actually, if we were to find a scientific basis for him, it might be the hippocampus. His neomammalian complex connected to certain things unknowingly. Just like the story of Billy Milligan, with his The Minds of Billy Milligan. How did Billy Milligan suddenly wake up and start speaking French? And why did he become a woman as soon as he woke up? Multiple personalities like this is unexplainable. Neuroscientists also agree that there is an information library, surely within the brain, where it collects a lot of information from this library, or external perception, without your knowledge. Perhaps it is our paleomammalian complex and neomammalian complex that are collecting this information. It is not the things perceived by our reptilian complex. The analysis of opening the third eye with the hippocampus. We only discuss theory, both from metaphysics to science. Let's begin with metaphysics. In metaphysics, this involves lucid dreaming. That is, while you are dreaming, you have to remind yourself, I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming. And let the you in the dream know that you are dreaming right now. You need to control yourself in the dream and not let the real world you wake up. Then, as in the movie Inception, you awaken within the dream. After waking up in the dream and realizing that you are dreaming, you can control the dream. You can change the world in the dream according to your thoughts. This is very sci-fi. As a digression, many people are also practicing lucid dreaming. But I believe the premise of lucid dreaming should be to dream first, so people who dream a lot should find it easier to practice. I also want to practice lucid dreaming. but I honestly have too few dreams. From 2020 to now, in a span slightly over 4 years, I have had only 2 dreams that I can recall. However, the images in these dreams are particularly clear. In most people's dreams, when they dream of other people, their faces may be black or blurred. In short, they don't know what they look like. However, in my dreams, the appearances of others and the surrounding environment are very clear, like 8K quality. Some people might think I've had dreams but have simply forgotten them. But even if I forget a dream, I should at least know that I possibly had a dream last night when I slept. I simply don't know I'm dreaming. I dream extremely infrequently. Only 2 dreams in these 4 years, so don't even mention lucid dreaming. Although I really want to lucid dream, in this situation, it's not possible to control my dreams. Of course, let's get back on track. I'll continue to talk about lucid dreaming. In Taoist philosophy, the Taoist master Lu Dongbin spoke about gaining enlightenment through dreams, achieving concepts such as Taishu, Yuanshen, Shishin, Chunyang, and so forth. These were all insights obtained by Lu Dongbin in his dreams. The one who led him to enlightenment, Zhongli Quan, also achieved his state of awakening through dreams. This process of gaining enlightenment through dreams is a common occurrence in Taoism, including for one of the fundamental masters of Taoism, Zhuangzhou. His famous quote continues to influence the entire Chinese philosophy system to this day. The dream of Zhuangzhou as a butterfly. Was it I who dreamt of becoming a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming of me? Dreams are indeed a magical experience. This method of opening the third eye through dreams is likely viable. In the future, we will release a video about Sigmund Freud to delve deeper into the interpretation of dreams. Buddhism does not emphasize sleeping, but it does emphasize something called zazen or Zen meditation. The Buddhist figure Ikkyu would suddenly have a burst of inspiration, sort of a snap moment. In fact, Buddhism has a method called the 7-point posture of Vairochana. This is when the Buddhas we see have their eyes half closed. They are actually using the corner of their eyes to gaze at the tip of their nose. While gazing at the tip of their nose, they practice zazen. Once this state is entered, your brainwaves are different from those in your normal state. Previously, scientists measured the brainwaves of lama practicing zazen. During meditation, a lama's brainwaves can enter 2 very peculiar spaces. One is a space of super high-frequency brainwaves, the other is a space of super low-frequency brainwaves. Ordinary people can also reach super low-frequency brainwaves. It happens during sleep. However, those lamas and Zen practitioners can control their practice to constantly be in these states of super low or super high-frequency brainwaves during zazen. Those who have experienced zazen or meditation may feel a deeper connection with this. It is a difficult state to achieve. So, in such a state, what can monks and bodhisattvas see? Actually, someone has told us this before, namely Avalokiteshvara. Avalokiteshvara has passed down the Heart Sutra, and I think the Heart Sutra is essentially what they saw in the state of zazen. What does it mean? The first sentence means, an awakened person who can freely observe the mystery of his own Buddha nature, when using great wisdom to deeply study the process of how life reaches the glorious other shore, truly sees the 5 factors that constitute everything in the universe. Original have the nature of changeable emptiness. There is no immutable entity. All pain and disasters can be eliminated and resolved by this emptiness attitude. The second sentence means, from a macro perspective, there is no difference between form and emptiness. From a micro perspective, emptiness is also the same as form. Emptiness is the decomposition of form, and form is the combination of emptiness. Despite repeated thorough comprehension, deep thought, cognition, and identification, the conclusion remains unchanged. So it seems that we can also open the third eye using the method of zazen in Buddhism. Now let's talk about scientific open third eye analysis. This is quite similar to examples of enlightenment in dreams. Among the 3 famous cases, the first one is Mary Shelley. She was a teenager at that time and was supposed to write a ghost story or horror novel. But no matter how hard she thought, she couldn't come up with anything. But after a sleep, she woke up and she could write. What did she dream about? She dreamed about Frankenstein, which is exactly the Frankenstein she wrote. It's a classic story. Another example is Dmitri Mendeleev. At the time, there were already 56 elements. The arrangement of electrons outside the periodic table had been established. Dmitri Mendeleev dreamt of how to arrange these elements in an orderly manner. Upon waking up, he wrote down a periodic table. The periodic table even has a predictive function, indicating where future elements should be placed. Then, through the periodic table, many new elements were discovered. Another example is Albert Einstein, who has spoken about this himself. One day, while he was thinking about the theory of relativity, he had a dream. Einstein's description is actually quite similar to many of the descriptions found in Sigmund Freud's works. Einstein said he was staring at the sun, initially seeing a white light, followed by a strange spectrum. He had never seen this spectrum before. But when he saw it, he suddenly grasped the theory of relativity. Upon waking, he immediately wrote it down. In science, there are methods to regulate our hippocampus. Let's first talk about a somewhat conspiratorial scientific method. The hippocampus is somewhat like the primal shareholder in our brain, if we consider the triune brain, which is evolved. According to evolution, the most advanced that evolved first is the neo-mammalian complex. This is likely a brain that we evolved when we were reptiles. Our reptilian ancestors have surely experienced numerous ice ages, so under such circumstances, scientists have also discovered methods to stimulate our neo-mammalian complex. There are two methods. The first one is to starve it, so do not eat lunch. At this point, you want to do some creative work, or you want to memorize some stuff, but you will find that you cannot remember it because your reptilian complex is dominating at this time. What to do if you're so hungry? Run at full speed. At this point, you'll secrete creatine phosphate, which can stimulate your blood glucose, allowing you to forget about hunger. Then at this time, you are in a hungry and tired condition to remember things and to work. This is actually stimulating your hippocampus, stimulating your neo-mammalian complex to start working. In the process of stimulating it, another good method is to freeze it. That is, you are hungry and tired, and you are also very cold. At this time, you will find that this is truly extraordinary. But it is unknown how to activate the third eye by continuously stimulating hippocampus memory in this way. It's just a theoretically speculative method. This scientific method is derived from the study of evolution. In fact, to summarize these methods, we need to learn how to control our dreams. You must know that you are dreaming, and then collect and document the things in your dreams. These things must come from other dimensions. The material from these other dimensions can be very powerful if brought into reality. That's what we discussed today about opening the third eye. To sum it up, the most important method is to learn to control your dreams. This concludes the content for this session. Thank you for watching, and we'll chat again in the next session.